We're live!
Oh, here we go. We're doing the thing.
Hi everyone, it's Friday, which means it's time for another Paint and Slay. I am Vee, above me is Lauren, and today we have a lot of minis. I think this is the most minis we've done.
100%. I mean, I think the closest to this has been 2. This is twice as many minis as we have ever had on one stream at once.
Yes. We have 4 going on at once. We're doing 4 at once, but that's because we started working on the animated breaths for Fire and Acid last week. However, we need just a wee little bit more time with our Fire animated breath, and then we're going to do the fun little sealing with the Mod Podge Ultra Gloss, which is something we'll show at the end of the stream. But basically, I didn't want to rush it last week because there were some things we had to do on this guy where if we tried to do anything further, it was just going to get all mucked up because we had just finished doing a wash. Now, if you want to have some fun, go check out my Twitter, X, whatever the heck you want to call that platform. Twitter, all right? Go and check that out.
If you go to twitter.com, it still works. And so as long as that still works, I will call it Twitter.
Yeah. So go check out my Twitter account because I've been posting some fun shots of what these look like with backlighting and everything like that. And you can see why keeping these as transparent as possible is actually really cool. So once we do a couple things to the animated fire, we're going to move on to these lovely gas spores, which my camera was just like, what am I looking at? Eyeballs. You're looking at eyeballs, camera. Focus. See, look, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I can focus. Then it's creeped out by eyeballs. So we're going to work on the gas spores.
Porque no los dos.
All right. But before we get into the mini painting of everything. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Wormlade just totally caught my attention. I'm stuck in school waiting for a tornado to pass by. Wormlade.
Oh,
having been through that personally, please make sure you are in a safe spot, away from windows, in an enclosed room in the interior portion of your building, please and thank you. Oh my goodness.
I'm hoping because they said school, most schools, especially in that area, do have that kind of thing. But yeah, stay safe.
Yes.
Hopefully we can offer some distraction while nothing happens.
You're right. Okay, so Lauren, what should we talk about for what's happening in game first? It is the weekend. Do you want to talk about being ready for the weekend?
Yeah, let's do weekend buffs first. Yay! Look, it's Shar's Darkness weekend. Would you like to have undead all over your screen? Well, Viconia is here to help, along with Imoen, Shadowheart, Celeste, and Nayeli. Not all of them are going to involve undead, but a lot of them will, and all of them get buffs this weekend. So that for those of you who had been enjoying all of the buffs from the recent event that ended and are feeling a little buffless, guess what? They're here to help. Also, if you are signed up for the newsletter, do you like that? Also, if you've signed up for the newsletter, sometime in the next multiple hours, you will be getting our weekly newsletter, which will include a free Gold Darkness chest in order to help gear all of your champions. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, we highly recommend it. We only send out 1 newsletter a week most of the time. It always includes something free for you in game. And we also, when you sign up for the newsletter, you get Hitch. So definitely go and sign up and get yourself some free loot.
There you go.
But that's probably not the big announcement for today.
No. And also to be clear, when we say you get hitched, you're not getting hitched. You're getting hitched.
No, you get Hitch.
The champion.
you obtain the champion.
We don't have that kind of power.
Actually, I am legally able to get people. Yeah, I am an official minister of the Universal Life Church, and I have done 1 marriage for a friend of mine. So technically, with your consent, I can get you hitched.
I like it. Okay, so speaking of more importantly, perfect pairing. Shall we? I kind of like leaving the chat in suspense, but
there you go. The Great Modron March begins this coming Wednesday. And yesterday we announced that the champion that is getting featured, that is getting a rebalance, is Gromma, everybody's favorite turtle who can pretty much do everything and go anywhere. And then literally just moments ago, our next new champion coming out, Diana, from the famous kids show from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. So yes, if you would like a staff wielding acrobat in your game, she's going to be coming on Wednesday. The blog and the video are up. If you go to our website, you can see the blog, and then I'll put the Idle Champions YouTube in the chat, which is hey, it's Idle Champs YouTube for those of you listening at home to the home game.
Woohoo!
So you can get a brief overview in the video, and then get all the details in the blog. And then next Wednesday, be all prepared to march with Modrons and unlock Diana and upgrade Gromma and have lots of fun.
Fantastic.
I think that's probably the big thing.
That's the big things.
Lurking Rider, I will find out because I never know
Jesse.
Exactly. I think it is, but
for Jesse, based upon the timeline of when things are. If it wasn't Jesse, it was either a combination of Jesse and Ivy or Jesse is really how it's working out with key art. But I'm pretty sure it was Jesse.
But I will find out who did the key art, because yes, as always, because let's face it, every single time we're like, the key art is amazing, and you would think after all these years we would be used to the key art being amazing, and no, it amuses and astonishes me every time.
They always do a great job. I mean, I love sitting in and seeing the progress meetings are so much fun. Just saying, behind the scenes little note. Yeah. Okay.
But yes, I will find that out. And then, the only other thing I'll say is that we've got the amazing Gabe in chat. Thank you, Gabe. He's our moderator for our show. If you do have any questions about art, about minis, about Idle Champions, about eyeballs, go ahead and put those in chat with question in big capital letters before your question, so that Gabe can grab it, so that when we are taking care of all the eyeballs, we don't miss your question, like the Lurking Writers asking about the key art.
Yay. Okay, cool. So again, having fun with the new camera setup. It seemed that went over really well last week, so let's see if it keeps going and getting the thumbs up. We're going to first start off with the animated fire breath. Now, again, these are all coming from the WizKids D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures line. And they came in, this is a pack, one singular pack together. The Gas Spores came together, a pack of 2. And these 2 come separately. So don't think they come paired. They actually don't. And there's other animated breaths you could also get for the full set. So just keep that in mind. But they all, these didn't come primed ahead of time because these came as clear plastic. But these are primed ahead of time, so we don't have to worry about priming them or anything like that. But we do want to make sure we are finishing up our fire breath. And to do that, we're going to jump into our D&D prismatic paints, which are from Vallejo and WizKids working together. And we're going to work with the 3 colors. We have hammered copper, polished gold, and glorious gold that we're going to start working with. And basically, kind of reiterating what we did here for the acid breath, you can see there's this fun little shimmery factor that we have going on from the flashed metallic paint that we used last week. Well, there wasn't really a good red flash metallic. There is a red flash metallic, but it translates to pink and purple in its transitions. So it doesn't quite work for a warm toned acid or fire breath. So what we're going to do is go into metallic paints to draw out some of those highlights, but keeping it in a warm color scheme. So what we're going to do is start off with polished gold. Okay. And we're basically going to take that around the bottom portion here of the fire breath. Okay. And then we'll do the glorious gold in the center and the hammered copper towards the top. So kind of like how we put those original dry brush colors on, we're going to recreate that, but with the metallics, and not be as heavy handed. You want to just kind of lightly brush across the mini. And I am going to again use my nice big wide brush.
Yeah. I just realized I'm like, I'm going to need a much bigger.
Try something.
Dry brush. Let's grab one of my bigger ones.
Get the big one. So yeah, we'll start off with that.
And when you say bottom, so kind of the stuff that's more yellowish up till about the waist.
Yep. Well, honestly, that's going to depend on where you had it going on your mini. So basically, where it stops looking yellowish, that's where you're going to stop with your polished gold.
Okay.
Focus. Come on. I think it wants to play with the Idle Champions background. That might be the one thing I need to reevaluate. Is
having that.
This might have to go the way of the dodo, because the camera, you can tell the camera loves this section.
Big white letters that it can focus on. Gee, I wonder why.
Iris, absolutely. It gets very happy about that.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll see. Oh, I love that. So you can see the difference already just from the 3 strokes I took across the mini.
Yeah. I
I'm sorry, you were gonna
honestly,
say?
with this updated setup that you have, if the one thing that has to go away is the Idle Champions mouse pad,
Mm,
it's not the end of the world.
no.
It's definitely a concession that is just fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
and
I love it when
now
this
is the
happens.
fun of trying to make sure that I can see what's going on.
I can see. You want to see? You just want it all. You want to be able to see?
Yeah, I'm so needy when
See,
it comes to minis.
yeah. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of that lower portion. And you can see how this section is glinting beautifully in the light, whereas the other portions that haven't been done yet now kind of look a little bit more dull.
Yeah.
That's why bringing in the metallic accents really is a fun angle to take. Now, I'm not going to be rinsing my brush, actually. I'm just going to jump right into using the glorious gold, which is essentially a darker gold tone. Polished gold is very light, like 14 karat gold color.
Hmm.
Polished gold is more like antique gold pieces.
And this will be kind of the
This will
middle
be the mid
section.
section. Yep, the mid third section.
Okay.
You got it. All right. Same. Ooh, whoopsie. I dropped it.
This
Same
is
thing. Just dry brush across.
Although now we're definitely getting into the spot and where on one side across means this way and the other side
And then you
across
have to
means
keep,
this
yeah.
way.
When I say across, pull across the texture angles. So you will be moving this mini around in different angles and moving the brush in different spots because you don't want to pull with the grain of the texture of this miniature. Otherwise, you're going to have it go into the recesses and all that lovely floating work you just did will be for naught.
For not.
For naught.
No.
Oh, God, I'm loving this.
Sorry, I'm keeping an
Totally
eye out
okay.
for when we get confirmation on who did the key art. So if you see
Yeah.
me every once in a while looking off, I'm either looking at chat or I'm looking for answers from folks who have answers. There.
Answers for the
That's
answers.
answers for answer people.
Come on, play nice. There we go. Okay. And then, as soon as that section's done, like I said, this is going to be super quick.
Yeah, but I'm glad that we waited because
Yeah,
trying to do this last week in a bit of a rush
not
while it
worth
was
it.
still
It was going to
wet.
pull paint off, and that would have been heartbreaking to have all that work done. And then we. What?
Exactly.
I'm sorry. My hammered copper just got very interesting on me.
Oh, that's a problem.
I'm
Uh,
gonna fix this afterwards. I'm really glad I
I,
looked before I started putting anything
yeah.
on my plate.
Yeah,
That would have
because
been messy, messy,
because
messy.
we don't need very much for this
Nope.
dry brushing, and you would have had a lot more than you needed.
I would have had an inundation of hammered copper. Okay, so
Mm.
hammered copper is going to go on the rest of the miniature.
All right.
Again, against the grain of the details, opposite directions, etc., etc. But this gives that little bit of extra flash that we want going on for this fire breath, or the animated fire breath, I should say.
It was funny when you were talking about um the other metallic that does like the pink and purple,
Mm,
and it wouldn't have been so bad if it was just purple because
right.
purple is a fire color.
Absolutely.
Um, but yeah, the
The pink
pink's a
honestly just
bit
it
too much.
it wasn't working well. So this is still it has a similar effect. It doesn't quite have the fun coolness of the color shift factor, but it
Hmm.
highlights nicely for these style miniatures. So you can still have your details pop without obliterating the clarity or the transparency that you've just worked so hard to maintain on the mini.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I've forgotten about how getting around this face is a
It's a
challenge.
bugaboo, yeah. Okay. So now, Mr. Pump You Up Fire, you can see, is catching all those highlights now. Which is really a lot of fun for when you have this on the table and it's not being backlit. It gives it a glowing effect. Is there a way I can show how this looks with a backlight to it? She says as she looks at all of her lighting. Oh, 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 oh! Can I do it?
Ooh,
Can I do it? Here we go. Look it. See, this is what they look like when they're backlit.
There you go. Oh, nice.
Tell me that ain't cool.
That is very cool. You know what
Yeah.
else is cool? Belswin, thank you for all of the gift
Ooh.
subs. Happy Friday to you. If you are one of the lucky people who got a gift sub from Belswin, make sure to say thank you to them.
All right, so that
and
was
enjoy
the...
your emotes.
I'm trying to get the acid also backlit. There we go.
Ooh.
So you can see by having that transparency whether they're not backlit or backlit. No, backlit.
I mean, you could say that the fire breath involves guano, and so maybe bats
there you go.
were involved.
Yep. So yeah, it's definitely good to keep in mind the nature of these minis materials also when you're going in to paint them. So okay, now I gotta try and you screw it off.
Mine will not show off quite so well with this camera, but I will definitely. You can actually see some of the shine already.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see as much of the detail, but the shine is definitely there.
Yeah. But there we go with these. I really wish this. Yeah, I think this Idol Champions thing is affecting the focus. So.
Yeah, especially for something as
desk.
hard to already focus on as possible, which is, you know, these clear minis. I think the camera is probably already struggling a bit. Ugh.
Come on, play nice. You see it? Here we go. So now
there we go.
Now we're gonna start on the gas spores. So these are a lot of fun. Very eyeball-esque, as you can see right there with our little friend sitting next to me. Let's try that.
Gas spores. And these are identical.
Yes. These are the same minis. Twice over. There's two. So we're going to get into painting these. Again, we're going to keep using those D&D prismatic paints. Hold on, I have to switch notes. So we're going to start off base coating the entire mini, including the base, with dark flesh tone.
Okay.
So the whole kit and caboodle is getting a dark flesh tone. Obviously, there are lovely little clear support bits happening. So you want to avoid that as much as possible. If for some reason you do get paint on that, there are ways to remove it. And
we'll probably show that off because it happens.
It happens. And it might be worth, honestly, because there's so many lovely little nibbly grooves and stuff, thinning your paint out a little bit. Because remember, you don't want it to be too thick. You want it to be a thinner coat. Because what you don't want to do is for your paint to collect and dry and harden in those recessed areas, because then you're going to basically obliterate any details going on. What's interesting is I flipped the mouse pad over and this seems to be working.
Oh, yeah.
So
much better. Less for the camera to try to figure out what it should be focusing on, which totally makes sense.
Yep.
All
okay,
right.
So I'm going to get dark flesh tone. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Where's my water bottle? There it is. Get that thinned out and then just grab a nice round brush.
I have an answer. The key art for both Grama and Diana was Jessie.
See?
Excellent. Thank you.
I was trying to mentally go back in the calendar tasks when about those were done. So
yeah,
Jessie worked on those.
I always hear, or I shouldn't say, I always see who has done the key art when I see basically that task being completed by that person.
Right.
But because now that we've got two champions going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And even when we only had one going on at a time, I forget. And so I especially with something like that, I always want to make sure I'm crediting the correct artist. So it's much easier to just be like, I don't remember. Help,
Yeah.
help, help. Because someone always knows.
Now the fun thing is the spore, the stems. What are we calling these?
I was literally thinking the spores,
The
but I mean, it's
spores.
spores on spores,
Yes,
which,
that's why I was like, wait, but this is a gas spore. I'm gonna call them the mushroom doohickeys. That's the official term. The
okay.
mushroom doohickeys. You are gonna need to spin this mini around as you paint the mushroom doohickeys because there is lots of different angles to take into account. Or there are lots of different angles, I should say.
Darn
There
you,
be,
miniature for being 3D.
right? What is this? A 3D mini?
How dare. I have found having a brush that is very, very flexible helps with that because then I
It
could just kind of
does.
stick it in there and be like,
Yeah.
ah.
Poke, 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 poke. And it also helps to flip this upside down because you're gonna find under those caps, those are some hard little angles to get to.
Yep.
So by flipping it upside down, it'll be a little bit more conducive to reaching those little points that just seem to not want to take paint. And you have it upright. Fronds.
I mean, and hopefully this is a big enough eye that it doesn't set off that thing in humans' brains and where they see an eye and they have a hard time, like when we talk about painting eyeballs
Oh,
and how
yeah,
it's
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
easier to hold minis upside down just because of the way the human brain works. So
Yeah.
hopefully this is a big enough
Well, it's a
eyeball.
singular eyeball, too. You're not working to balance between the two.
That's
So,
true. That is very true. I think I may want to grab a smaller brush just to be extra careful around the clear parts, but mm,
yeah. Now, the funny thing is I'm purposely going with the grain of the details because that gets it into the recesses of these sculpts. Oh, did one of the cats walk by behind me? I just saw Floofy Cat from the Solar Bear.
oh yeah. Uh, I think we knew it was going to happen, but
Oh,
yesterday
yeah.
during Idle Insights with you and
God.
Luke Gygax, who was our
Yeah.
guest, with both dogs and cats enjoying the
It's a
show,
menagerie. It
chat
was a menagerie.
was very, very amused, which,
Oh,
like I said,
good.
we were not surprised by, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I
I
think
gotta
his
tell you.
dog just slept on his lap the
Grogu.
entire
Oh.
show.
Grogu was such a cutie. Happen to
Yeah.
love the name. Um, and plus, it was such a pleasure chatting with Luke just about this, that, and the other thing, and getting the behind the scenes stories and all of that. Really appreciated his
Yeah.
taking the time to share those little tidbits with us. It was great. It really was.
Well, and now that I know that tour that he was talking about and where um, they're bringing an adventure and where
Mm,
they're going to have people playing through all the different versions of D&D in
yeah.
order as part
Yeah.
of the celebration of the 50th anniversary. And he mentioned Seattle as one of the
He
locations. So
did.
I'm going to have to do some looking and see if it's
Yep.
possible for me to go and enjoy because it's been a very long time since I've been able to participate in an epic like that. And that is solely because of time. I had a ton of
Right.
fun doing it and I wish I could do it more often.
There
Uh
you go.
but yeah, I got very excited when he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be, here in Seattle." And I was like,
Weep. I heard a city.
Wait,
I heard a
wait, there's
city.
gonna be an epic near me?
What now?
Oh,
That's fun
so I just
though.
got to see whether the timing works out.
Right, because this is not always the thing. Timing.
Yeah, because that is like most D&D games in general, but then especially an epic like this, it's not a quick thing. It takes a little while to do the whole thing. So
Yeah.
that's a clear your calendar for the day type of affair.
Yeah. I like how Chad is updating me about my own cats.
12:27
uh,
p.m. They went onto the couch.
Okay, so Lurking Rider says Gray Floof equals Hemingway. Somewhat correct. Hemingway is one of my Gray Floofs. I have two gray Maine Coon Floofy boys. They're a bonded pair of twin brothers. So I actually think, where'd he go? I think we had a rare Cotton spotting. Because
Oh.
Cotton's like wandering around behind me, but he's almost purposely staying out of shot, which is why I'm laughing.
Mm-mm.
So you may have seen a rare Cotton. Oh, sir. No, sir. Thank you, sir. No. Hey, no. Mm-mm. Are you getting brave? You behemoth. Where do you think you're going to go? Cotton is my biggest cat. You can
Where
see
do you
the
think
Maine
you're gonna
Coon in
go?
him.
Wherever I want.
Yeah, right? No. Uh-uh. It's a good
All
thing
right.
you're a cat. He's stepping on something that was about to tip over, but because he's delicate and graceful as a cat, it didn't.
Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I was about to say, well, you are
Having to deal with cuteness.
chastising your cats.
Yeah.
Kalith Marin wants to know, Lauren, you have short hair. Why, yes. Yes, I do. I've been growing out mine since February when I buzzed everything off to start fresh. Very cool. How do you get your hair to not look like the cartoon where someone gets scared and their hair sticks straight up? Mine is that annoying stage where it does that all the time. It's gonna depend on how curly your hair is normally. Um, and I will admit it has been decades since I have had hair past my ears. So, uh, I actually don't know because it's fairly natural as people get older that your hair changes. You know, how curly it is, what color it is, the whole nine yards. So,
Mm-hmm.
if I was to regrow my hair out, it might not be as curly as what I remember, but I did have pretty, very wavy hair. I put it that way. You know, curly, but like big curls. I have the perfect 80s hair, let me put it that way. And to be honest, my problem is because of that, because I've cut it short so often, and because it's also thick, which means usually my hairdresser has to thin it out in order for it to
Mm-hmm.
not look like a frizzy mop. I actually tend to have the opposite problem in where unless if I'm not careful, I should say, if I take a shower at the end of the day and I just kind of towel dry it and then walk away because it's the end of the day and I don't care what my hair does,
Mm-hmm.
my hair just lays flat on my head and it looks like a bowl cut
Oh
if I'm
no.
not careful. And so usually what I have to do is kind of the opposite in where I make sure that it's got just a little bit of like not be flat on my head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Fortunately, because mine is wavy, all that usually takes is I towel dry it and then I just make sure that as it's drying, it is not sitting flat on my head like a bowl. Um, if I have to, especially if I've got like a performance and my hair is not cooperating or it's been long enough since I've had a haircut and where it's gotten to the frizzy point, I do use some product. Um, Fortunately, once again, because it is short hair, I don't need very, very much. I'm blanking on the stuff that I use. I can't remember the stuff that I use, but it's a gel that I use just after getting out of the shower once I've towel dried the hair. And what's nice about it is it's very light and it doesn't make my hair, it probably doesn't hold as well as other things, but it also doesn't make my hair feel crunchy or you know how sometimes like gel or hairspray or whatever you go like this and then your hand gets stuck because it's like sticky or
Right.
crunchy
Yeah. Yeah.
or greasy or it
Yeah.
doesn't feel that way. And so while it probably doesn't hold as well as other things, it definitely just feels better. Um, so yeah, but I think so it's hard for me to give um kind of universal advice. I'd say the only thing I can recommend and the thing that's kind of been universal for me is when I take a shower, it is that first 5-10 minutes after getting out of the shower that really can affect what my hair looks like for the rest of the day. So hope that helps. Also, congratulations on doing something cool because, I know a lot of people who will never cut their hair short because they're rightfully worried about how long it may take to grow back. or what it'll look like or all of that. Um, because that's the other thing that I'll say is my hair grows like a weed. So if I don't go to the hairdresser once every 7, 8 weeks or so,
Oh wow.
I could, if I spent 4 or 5 months, I could have hair down below my ears again. It's just unable to stop growing. Um, so I'm kind of, people would call me lucky because of that, because if I get a bad haircut or if I cut it real short and then I'm unhappy with it, I don't have to wait too long.
Right.
So especially if you are someone that it takes a while to regrow, uh, congrats on the bravery of cutting it all off and starting fresh. I hope some of that was useful.
All right. Yes, that was cotton that you saw me corral. Hi,
The
buddy.
corralling of cotton.
Here, come here. Come here, buddy. Chad's asking about you. Come here. So this is our rare boy. This is Cotton.
Hi,
Cotton actually
cutie.
shows up to a lot of the CNE meetings in the morning. This is the one who, here we go. Lauren, you know this site. This is what he does during some of our morning stand-ups. He just loves it and blisses out.
Yep.
Do 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 do. You gonna be good?
And uh despite the fact that all of us at C&E have now seen that multiple times over multiple years, we never grow tired of it. It's
Nope.
always amusing.
Nope. He just lives
Always
for it.
makes someone be giggling.
Here, this is some Friday funnies for you. Cotton's little goober.
Yep.
All right, that good, buddy? You good?
For now, I will require tribute again later.
You gonna hang out? What do you think? Okay, now the nice thing, because we've painted one and put it down while painting the other, this one's starting to get to the point of being dry so that we can continue work on it. And also, since they now have dark brown on them, essentially, I can bring my light back and the camera doesn't go, what is this brightness, whiteness?
Mm.
So that'll be good. So
I'm
as soon as you finish up, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just finishing up. I kind of went back and forth actually between the two so that I could use different brushes, but I'm about to be finished with one of them.
Totally cool. Oh, buddy.
Trying to actually be real good and stay off of the clear.
I tried. I got some on there. I'm kind of like, meh, I can fix it later.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I need a different. Doo-doo-doo. I'm gonna try this one. One more time. One more time before I put you down, bud. What do you think? I also like how you can see his ridiculous toe floofs. Buddy.
Okay. There we go. That one's done. Let that sit for a second.
You good?
I'm done with one. I'm finishing up the last little bits
Cool.
of the other.
Okay. And I'm gonna hold off before we do that. So yeah, basically, looks like I had determined a name for those. I called them the mushroom shoots.
Ah,
Looking at my notes now. So the mushroom shoots. That's what we're gonna
that
call
makes
them.
sense.
Yeah.
The technical term.
The technical term. Oh, sweet spot. You good? We done? We done? What do you think?
Never. I
My
always
friend,
require
you
fresh
can't-
tribute.
He's starting to melt like, okay, and now I'm gonna nap. Because he will do that sometimes. On the
Just
weekends
right
on
in
the
your lap?
couch. Oh yeah, like if I'm watching something and he comes up on my lap like this. Oh, you just heard your brother. Go get Hemi. Go get him. Go. Okay, so while Lauren finishes that up, you're gonna want to grab Goblin Green, which remember doesn't always look the color green that it's going to be because of just the mixing of the paints on the outside with the pigment settling. You can even tell looking
Yeah.
at the bottom. There's like 3 different colors playing around right now. So you're going to grab some Goblin Green and a dry brush, and we're going to do some dry brushing pretty darn soon.
Yep. I'm
also going to swatch this so people can see what Goblin Green actually looks like when out of the bottle in comparison to in the bottle. So it's actually this very army olive green tone going on, as opposed to this almost teal that it looks like on the outside of the bottle. So don't be deceived. That's why it's always good to check your paints before you start just using them.
Especially greens.
Yeah, they like to do some interesting things.
There we go. I'll let that one dry.
Okay, so
grab. I almost said I'll grab army green. It's like, no, that wasn't the green.
Close. It's close. It would work. So grab goblin green, and we're going to basically dry brush the orb of these, but we're going to avoid the mushroom sprouts. So you're going to get those little tentacles that are dangling down, and then the upper orb, or the orb itself through the upper portion, but stop at the sprouts. Or shoots, I should say. Stop at the shoots.
Okay.
And we're going to take this as to more of an overbrush technique. So we're layering it on a little bit thicker than just a simple dry brush.
Oh, yeah. It's also a completely different color. Yeah. So it's showing up real nice.
Pop out. Yeah, it is. But basically a lot of what we're doing with this, because there's so many little details and different colors that get built in, we're kind of working from the bottom layers up, so that as we progress through the mini, we can adjust the colors as needed with a new layer. Methinks I need to check the weather forecast.
Uh-oh.
The cats are wrestling. Like big. This is what they always do before rainstorms. Which also explains Cotton's rare appearance today. He's feeling feisty.
Yeah, Caleb Marin says, I've been using the Not Your Mother's Hair Growth Combo and gummies because I'm an impatient gremlin. I mean, that's fair. I wish I can remember. I can picture the bottle of the stuff that I use. And I don't even buy a regular size bottle of it. I intentionally buy the travel size because I use so little of it. That way, when I do travel, I don't have to worry about like figuring out how to travel with it if I want it. And it's basically a white and black bottle. I'm just failing miserably at remembering.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those things you and I sign off and you're going to scream a product name at me and I'll be like, okay.
Probably.
Like it do.
And if not, I will definitely end up in the bathroom after this, looking right at it going, why couldn't I remember you? I've used you forever. Why can't I remember?
That's the hysterical part of it. When it's like, especially when it's a product you use all the time.
Yep.
Down to a smaller round brush to get between these mushroom shoots. Basically using the round side of a round brush. The long side, I should say. And if you get some on the shoots, it's okay. It is not the end of the world.
But my clean overbrushing, no.
Quick, call the ambulance. My youngest pulled that one out the other day and I just sat there cracking up. I haven't heard that in ages. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to switch to a round brush too, because even my smallest dry brush is just
a little bit too wide.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna jump to my next gas spore. I'm gonna stay with a little brush and start at the top and work my way around. So I'm not toggling brushes back and forth all the time. Let's see. All right, we're doing okay on time. This is probably going to be one of those things where if we don't finish, we probably won't finish these up completely this week. So we'll do like a blended finishing a mini, that's the word I want. Finishing a set of minis, then we'll jump into the next mini.
Yeah, That's okay.
Yeah. Which
That's
actually,
kind of become a reoccurring
it
theme, as it were.
has. Yeah. Which is honestly okay, because really it's the nature of mini painting. More often than not, you have a few going at the same time. While one dries, you go to the next step on the other one, etc., etc. But I can show off what we're doing once I finish dry brushing this one, just to kind of give people a heads up
Yeah.
for next week.
Which will also give me a chance to catch up.
Yeah, there you go.
Come on, get on there.
Okay, lurking writer. Not to be confused with the wham exclamation point Bulence, which is called out to pick up those who are victims of the wham exclamation point again every December.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like that song. Like, I'm not mad when that comes on the radio.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
It's a fun bop.
It is. Plus, it came out when I was a kid, so I think for me it's like one of those super nostalgic Christmas songs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know?
Remind me. So we're not getting the spore stuff on the top.
Right.
Are we? Oh, we're
we
not
are
getting
doing
the
little tentacles. We are doing
We
the
are
little
doing the little
bittles.
tentacles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the little tentacles, yes. The spores, no.
Okay.
Or the shoots, no. Shoot, no.
Shoot, no.
Why, shoot, no. Oh, I am so going to be breaking out the rubbing alcohol for the stem.
Yeah.
I tried to be careful at this point. I'm like, meh. Not worth it. Can be removed.
I'm definitely gonna have to break it out for the stem as well, but
Yeah.
I am still actually a little proud of how clear and cautious I was. And so it's not as bad as it could be.
Okay.
That's how I
Just
am.
the way you said, I'm so proud. It's not as bad as it could. I'm like, no, just be proud of it. It's good. The juxtaposition of the first part of what you said and what you threw in at the end. I'm like, what?
I mean, it could have been a lot worse. That's
Right,
the pride and joy of that moment is I took my time, and so I'm happy with how little I'll have to clean up later.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, that's that one done.
So, did Lurking Writer technically Whamageddon me in April? Because now I have that song stuck in my head.
Oh.
Can you be Whamageddoned in April when it's outside of the month of December?
No, it only counts in December, is what we're being told. Okay. Oh, actually need more Goblin Green.
Goblin, I did too. At least you weren't rickrolled. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, there was a dude who has a tattooed. Sorry, reverse that. There is a dude who has a QR code tattooed onto his body. And when you scan it, apparently it takes you to the video on YouTube of the certain Rickrolled song.
All right. Some people are dedicated to the bit, I guess.
That's just it. I'm like, you must really like that song, or you must really like the reactions people have when they hear that song. Oh, this is
hopefully a little bit of both, because I think I would get sick of it real quick.
So
then again, you're tattooing a QR code onto your body, which means in order for someone to actually scan the QR code,
they have to come with a camera.
They have to get relatively close or zoom in, and that's if you don't know what's going on, that probably looks pretty creepy. So there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to unpack with this.
Oh, yeah, the more you think about it, the more it
Mhm.
gets. Hmm. Hmm. That's a good point. That is a good point.
Does make me wonder if this person thought through all of the ramifications of this action and still went ahead and
And
did
still
it.
was like,
Or
I'm in.
yeah, yeah.
Too funny. How are you doing with your pear?
I've got to get in between the spores on the top of the second one, and then I am
Okay.
done.
Sweet. I am going to jump down to a smaller brush for dry brushing because we're still going to keep dry brushing, but we're going to go more back to true dry brushing where it's just lightly going over things.
Okay.
Oh God, the journeys we go on during Paint and Slay, Lurking Rider. We have wandered in so many places. If we had a passport book, we'd have a variety of different stamps, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, between music and food, we are
Music,
around the world.
food, TV,
Yeah.
factoid. I mean, we really do travel.
I mean, that's got to
um,
be kind of normal for mini painting because
oh,
like
absolutely.
there's focus involved, but then also not so much focus that we can't be chatting. So I have to assume
Right.
that this kind of multitasking and these kind of conversations are relatively normal.
Yeah. So I just held up my dead flesh, which sounds so wrong.
Held up your dead flesh.
Speaking of trips,
Thanks
you're
everybody.
gonna
Thanks for
clip
coming
that,
on
aren't
by.
you?
I really, really appreciate
That's
y'all
going
watching
on
Paint and Slay. We'll see you
TikTok.
next week. Bye.
No.
Yeah, I'll probably be clipping that later. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need the color dead flesh. I'm not gonna give you my dead flesh. Oh
You're
God.
not making it any better.
I
This is
know,
nope,
that's
nope.
just it.
I mean, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing that happens when you're
Mm-hmm.
painting minis. It's like playing D&D. Eventually you say something and it's like, I can't believe that is a sentence that just came out of my mouth.
The solar bear, bring out your dead flesh, y'all.
But I'm not dead. I'm getting
Not dead
better.
yet.
My mini's getting better. It could have been worse.
Oh, I'm just gonna roll with it at this point. I said what I said.
Yep, stick by it. Listen,
uh,
we all understand.
yes.
Even in context, some things are funny.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna take dead flesh. Jesus Christ. I can't. Oh wait, that's even worse. Never mind. The color dead flesh with a smaller brush, we're going to actually dry brush this in the same spots over the orb and the little tentacles at the bottom, avoiding the shoots. Yes.
And when you say the orb, do you really just mean like the middle or the whole
The
big
whole
round
thing. Still
body?
the whole
Okay.
thing. But we're not doing as much of an overcoat. We're just
Okay.
lightly dancing the dead flesh over the top of the surface.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Hi, Hembles. No, sir. No, you are not. I know you want to come up and say hi, but that's not the place to do it.
Lurking Rider asks, do you think the people who create the names of these paints planned this outcome? Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Uh-huh. They knew what they were doing. Absolutely.
Uh
I
huh.
have zero doubt. And you know what? Even if by some weird coincidence that the people creating these colors didn't know what they were doing, people marketing them knew what they were doing. Someone along the line took a look at dead flesh and went,
Mm-hmm. This will be a fun conversation starter.
"Yep."
Well, it's like when I used to do my lunch break live streams, which was the mini paintings thing, that I'd have around like people's lunches. When I was using some paints from Plaid, some of their craft paints, they were food related. And oh boy, there were times my stomach would start to growl from talking about these different paint colors I was using. Simply because,
Yep.
you start hearing things like, chocolate bar and something ice cream, and just forget it.
Now, at least with this, because they are paints that are being used for miniatures,
Mm,
I think there is, the fact that there is a paint called Dead Flesh just kind of gets the people giggling, and no one's
yeah.
no one's going to be upset by that. I worked for
Oh
a
boy.
brief amount of time uh, in the storeroom slash shipping for a company that did art supplies.
Mm-hmm.
And we had every Copic marker on the planet, pretty much, because Copic markers are people love using them, and they're
They
high
do.
quality markers. And so the vast majority of the time they would order individual colors. They weren't ordering like there were
Sets,
packages, but
right?
most people were just like, give me this and this and this and this. And the number of times one of us would come across a color name, and be like, is this really, are you sure you want to call it this?
That.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it comes to calling things flesh tones.
Hmm.
Um in the fantasy realm, you can kind of get away with things like dead flesh.
Right.
Uh in the slightly more in the slightly less fantasy realm of Copic markers, there were some that was just like, someone didn't think about this, did they? Someone didn't consider the ramifications. So, at least with all of the mini paints that I've come across, they've always been at least funny.
Yeah.
At least like, oh, okay, all right.
What are you doing, princess?
I mean, it's the same thing as the Dune popcorn bucket. There are some people who
True.
are like, how could they let this happen? I'm like, oh, they knew.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew. And even if
Side by
not
side.
everybody knew, the marketing people knew.
Oh yeah. So you can see how, with the dead flesh on it, it brightens up the look of the mini that has it as opposed to the one who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I will get through this section of the stream. I will get through this section of the stream. Oh, God. Help me.
It's gonna be fine. It's
It's
gonna
going
be
to be fine.
fine.
It's cool. It's cool. It's
Eventually,
totally
we'll
cool.
move on to a color that is more about food, and then everybody will be happy again.
Exactly.
Okay, that's 1 minute down.
Mm-hmm.
Volt TV 35. It looks so much better with dead flesh.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's an accurate statement.
Yep. This is where I live now.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I live with dead flesh. There we go. Lord.
Well,
Lord
and these
help
things
me.
are technically plants, so but they're fungi. I mean, they're considered plants in D&D, but
Yeah.
obviously they have a fungus type of
They have a
feel
fungal
to them.
influence. Yeah.
Yeah. So talking about things that would be involved with the fungus, like, you know,
Yeah.
dead flesh, is
Yeah.
not necessarily too out of the question.
No. What do you want, Miss Thing? Huh? She's not sure if she wants to sit and cuddle or get scritches. I can do one. I can't do the other. Okay. Okay.
Something tells me she's going to want the one that you can't do at this
Pretty
moment.
much. I mean, it's Rory. She's so contrary. It's hysterical.
All this talk about uh spores and dead flesh and all of that, I had put out onto the social medias, because every once in a while I have an idea that I can't actually use, but I need to share with the world.
Uh huh.
So I put out my idea of a circle of spores druid multiclassed with a necromancer wizard just so that I could have an army of undead squirrels.
Oh, funny.
And now I'm just thinking about that again.
Now it's come back up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not usually the person that like makes up characters or thinks about character concepts too often if I'm not actively trying to make a character. But when I'm actively trying to make a
Uh-oh.
character and it
Rory, get down. Hold on.
Nope, that's okay.
She wants you to know. Oh, perfect. She did it at the top of the hour, so that was.
There you go. Perfect timing. For those of you joining us,
Yes.
we are having fun with Dead Flesh, and the cats are excited.
Apparently, about Diana and Grandma. So, yay!
Yeah.
That was too funny. Okay. Put those guys down for the now. Young.
Yep. If you
thing.
haven't come by the website or if you haven't come by
Definitely
the
check it
Idle
out.
Champions YouTube, the blog and the spotlight video are up for Grandma and Diana.
Do, do, do.
Yay! Presto's getting another friend.
Oh, I'm. No, I'll be good. I'll be good.
Hmm.
I'll be good. I'll be good.
Okay.
Just reminded me of something I saw this morning. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be fun when it's ready. So
Okay.
just a little vague hinting. I like the lurking writers. Question: wait, how does Luke feel about the idea of an army of undead squirrels?
I haven't talked to him about that yet.
We say nothing.
I'm sure he knows because like he follows me on social media, but I haven't. That is a naughty conversation. You know what? It's just an idle thought. I'm not actually making this character. There's no reason that you know that he needs to feel like I'm threatening anything at all with the actual live squirrels that he feeds on a regular basis, who are wonderful and not undead at all.
Nope, not at all. Okay, so now we're definitely going to go into detail brush land
Okay.
because you'll see around the eyeball there's almost like this. Well, it's webbing. There's this webbing that goes around it. So we're going to want to go in, and you can see it's detailed here on our art from the game. So basically, we need to go in and paint those lines in now with other colors. So this is where I said we're going to be layering up the details as we go along. So now we're going to move on to this red webbing that goes around the eyeballs. Okay.
Okay.
So for that, we need Rust Monster.
Okay.
And that's going to go on. So basically, we are painting this. It's not going to be like a dry brush technique or anything like that. We're painting this onto the webbing.
Where's my rust monster?
Isn't that always the question?
That's blue and white. That's cobalt scales. That's scarlet red. Where's my rust monster?
Maybe it's after the metal.
Maybe I did not grab it.
Uh-oh.
All right. Rust monster. Okay. Let's see. I'll just pull out my prismatic paint set.
Dun dun dun.
Yep, did not pull it out. Rust monster.
That'll do it. Just as a fun
Now,
little swatch.
I'll mention again, since it's actually been a little while since I held this up, and it's the intermediate paint set, and I don't actually remember which one Rust Monster usually comes in, because I have both. In order to make my life a little easier, I reorganized both of those sets into alphabetical order. So if anyone at home is going, wait a second, that paint doesn't usually come in that set, that's why.
Yeah, Lauren and I have done so. I've not done alphabetical order. I've done color tone order. So my blues and my purples and my greens are together. My reds, yellows, and oranges are together in two separate cases. It's been a time saver.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. I'm just kind of watching. Now, when you talk about the stripes, are you, because on my screen at the very least, on the picture, it looks brown, but you're talking about like the basketball type stripes on the body?
Yeah. So not every one. You're going to notice that there's a webbing pattern on the back
Mm.
and a webbing pattern on the front. So let me actually draw one of these out for you so you can see. So let me. Okay, so let me finish around the eye.
Sure.
So go around the eye here, and then you'll see there is this little line coming out over here. I
Okay.
just painted away from the eye, and it's gonna branch out and go. Once I can get it painted up. It's basically gonna go across the sphere, the orb itself. The more I
Okay.
can paint it up, the more obvious it'll be. So it's almost like you're connecting the front to the back, and it's not going to be every single one of these, obviously.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I
then it'll
almost feel
connect
like it's,
around.
I don't know, maybe it's my eyes, but it's easier to see where those branches come off from the back than the
It might
front,
be,
but
yeah, it could very well be, yeah. And it just connects around
okay, yeah.
like that.
Yeah, I have a feeling we'll probably be working on these again next week because we still have to
Yep,
go back and do the final little
yep,
bits of the breath, but that is totally okay.
yep. It's one of those things that just happens depending on the pacing we have for each of these minis.
Yeah. Well, and as we've both said before, it's better to go slow and to be
Oh, yeah.
happy with what we're doing than try to rush through it. This is supposed to be uh, a nice, calm stream anyway.
Mm hmm.
A nice Friday afternoon, sit back, relax, do a
Talk
little
about dead
painting.
flesh, you know.
Yep, work a little bit on that dead flesh.
No big deal.
Get some stuff done in Idle Champions.
Yeah, totally.
Come back to painting minis. So yeah.
Works for me. Yeah, this is gonna take longer than I. I forgot there was this webbing on it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Since we are at the top of the hour, I know we just talked
Mm-hmm.
about Grama and Diana, but also if anybody in chat does have any questions for us about Idle Champions or mini painting or art, uh, go ahead and put those in chat with question in big capital letters, because we do have Gabe in chat grabbing those questions so
Thank
that
you,
I don't
Gabe.
miss them as I am hardcore working on webbing.
Working on the webbing. I'm sure there's a musical spoof there somewhere.
Okay.
They're so creepy.
Yeah, but fun.
Yeah. What?
Caleb Marin is like, calm is never a word I've associated with this show, especially with chat. I mean, we had always thought, oh, this will be a calmer show. This is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be kind of a, but yeah, I mean, V and I are both uh higher energy people. So it's calm in the sense of we're gonna we're gonna have these moments of just nobody
Yeah.
talking because we're too busy
Focusing.
hardcore looking for
Little
lines.
lights.
For
Yeah.
lines.
This is also why with all these little bits of webbing, it's better just to put the base colors on first and then put the colors on top of, because trying to paint individually around all of this stuff going on,
Oh, yeah.
headache. Headache and a half.
Yeah,
Zen
well,
Chaos, the name of my
the
next
art
monk.
down there has very like straight
Mm-hmm.
lines.
This
These
one
the
is
the
this
actual
one's
mini
definitely not. No.
not
No, no, no,
straight.
no, no. It's got a more naturalistic flow to it for sure.
Oh, that's good. Lurking Rider called it Zen Chaos, and Void
Mm-hmm.
TV 35 came along and said, "Ah, Zen Chaos, the name of my next monk multiclass."
There we go.
That's a good name.
It is.
Names are hard. Names are always the last thing I end up being able to come up with for any character.
Yeah, that's the
So
fun thing
hey, if you
about
can,
how everyone creates their characters.
yeah, I know people who start with names,
Yeah,
which is
which I'm good
impressive.
on you. Yeah. Do 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 do.
Yeah, so one of the reasons that I found myself mulling over the idea of a necromancer spores druid multi-class, which
Mm-hmm.
once again, I never considered that as a, oh, I'm definitely going to play this character at some point. Uh,
Yeah.
but the reason I was mulling it over is because I was in the process over the last week of creating two different characters for two different things coming up.
Ooh.
One which should be announced like now-ish.
Ooh. Like
If it's
literally
not,
nowish.
yeah, well, like today, because
Oh.
I mean, I will say the first episode is Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully today at some point it gets announced. Um and the other is not for a couple of weeks down the
Gotcha.
line, but yeah, I spent a good chunk of last week doing character creation stuff.
Fun times.
And so I was deep into it. But yeah, even with it being with me being deep into it for two different characters, the names came last. Eh, just the way it is.
But are you happy with the names?
I'm yes, although the one for this weekend, yes, keeping it done with it. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Which is good because like overlays and things. The one for a couple weeks down the line, I might massage a little bit more.
Interesting. Okay.
Especially, well, um, so I'll say this because it's not like a spoiler or anything. Because I'm creating both these characters at the same time, and even though they're for two different shows,
Mm-hmm.
but two different groups in two different worlds, for reasons, I have made them brother and sister,
Got it.
which
Okay.
is fun. So
Yeah.
I was working on um basically I was working on not just coming up with names, but because one of the shows is in a homebrew world, I was also working with the naming conventions for that homebrew world for the type of character that I'm playing.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, it just what I tried to do worked better for the character I'm going to be playing on Sunday, and the one that I'm going to be playing in a couple weeks, the I am I'm happy with the name, but I'm having a hard time just saying it. It doesn't fall easily on my
Oh, okay.
tongue.
Right.
So yeah, that one's probably going to get massaged a little bit more, but I also have multiple more weeks before that one absolutely positively has to be done overnight. So so we'll see what happens.
There you go.
Oh, Snapdad, both of these are on another channel. That being said, the one on Sunday, I need to find out if they've been announced yet.
Oh, yeah.
They are both
So
on
that's
another
fair.
channel.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
that's
I know
fair.
it's weird. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, the game is on Sunday. Why can't you talk about it? But I try to be careful about,
Yeah, you
not.
don't want to jump ahead of what they're comfortable having out there. I totally understand.
Yeah, and even though I'm like 99% sure I could probably say something and the people involved would be like, "Yeah, sure." I
Mm-hmm.
just want to make sure the official account has a chance to be the first to announce. So,
Yeah.
uh but yes, both of these are on a different channel. They're both D&D 5e games, and I will definitely talk about them more often.
When it's ready.
Uh but yeah, that is the struggle with names is
Getting that sweet
always a
spot.
thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. I'm getting close to being done with one of these.
Maybe there.
Snapdad, I can't
Yeah.
say the channel for the one that's the one that's later, because that's like a good 7 weeks away. It's still a while away.
Yeah.
Um, Let me put it this way. If you play Idle Champions on Sundays, there has been and will be an in-game alert for this game.
That
That is not at all a very that is a very blatant spoiler now that I've said it. Oh well.
to get this little bit. Ah.
Also, Lurking Writer, I appreciate the offer of if I come up with the character concepts, that they'll name them. Um, I appreciate that, and I may at some point take you up on that offer, but I do. It's not that I don't even like naming. Like I enjoy the process. It takes forever for me to settle on something.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it's not something that I easily settle on. It's there's a lot of other things that there's a lot of things that I struggle with character creation, and there are some things that are super duper easy. Like as soon as I have an idea of uh the class and a lineage and kind of a basic idea of what the other players are playing,
Mm-hmm.
coming up with who the character is and what their subclass is and basically all the mechanics, just that is fun and easy. Names.
Yeah.
Names.
That's fair.
Oh, okay. It did get posted.
Okay. There you go.
I don't know where that got posted. It's posted on Instagram.
Ooh.
I don't have an Instagram. Okay, but
Yes, you do.
it's been. Well, I mean, I don't use it.
You don't use it. I mean, you do have one though.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, since it already got posted, so I'm going to be joining the Gary Con gaming channel, Gary Con Live, for the next 7 weeks. We're doing a stream that is the heroes of Okarim are back. It'll be 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, and it's an adventure written by Luke Gygax called "The Heart of Chentofi." There we go. And includes a whole bunch of really awesome people, including Alicia Marie, my good friend from the from Children of Verite. There we go. Jeez. So yeah,
And
that
the
starts
creator of
this
the world.
Sunday on twitch.tv/GaryCon Live. Um, and I hopefully that will go up on a social that I'm involved more with shortly. But yes, if you're playing Idle Champions at the time, you've seen those alerts go out. And so, yep, I'm going to be joining them for a 7-episode game. I am playing a paladin, and I haven't played a paladin in quite a while, and I'm excited. And they are they are not your typical uh cliche paladin. I've
Not the
definitely
Dudley
gone
Do
enough.
Right that we had mentioned yesterday.
Exactly, exactly. They are not uh the lawful good stereotype of a paladin. They're good.
Right.
I'll say that. They're not. I'm not playing like an Oathbreaker or anything, but
Right.
okay, yeah, come on by, watch me play paladin. I'm gonna be playing. I've played paladins before, but been real long. There are a couple things that this paladin does and can do that I've never actually done in fifth edition before.
Oh, neat.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And it's a fun group, and I'm excited to join. And especially since Children of Verte ended, I'm always excited to be able to get back into a game with any of those folks. So when Alicia asked if I was interested, I'm like, well, if you're playing, I'm interested. So it was an easy yes.
All right. My goodness.
Hmm.
What a tangled web we weave.
Oh yeah, so much.
All right, so that is one webbing system done.
Lurking Rider, what time zone will the game be starting? So 1 o'clock Pacific. And I believe it is a 3 hour game with a yeah, 3 hour game with a break in the middle. So 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. Other time zones, other places. And at that point, y'all can just do the math. Or play Idle Champions. And while you're playing Idle Champions on Sunday, the alert will come out, and you could just click on the alert and come and get an Electrum chest. And while I won't give away subclass or any other specifics, I will say we're level 8, so we're a nice level to have a lot of fun, chunky things that we can do. Uh-oh, something go wrong? Okay. Ah, all right. This is what I get for not looking up too often. Thank you, everybody, for hanging tight as V works to work on
Okay.
some. Oh, there we go.
I should
Just
be
heard you.
back. I should be
You
back
are back.
now.
Yep.
I was saying
It just
something and realized you weren't responding. I'm like, what is going? And then I saw that my audio was not doing a thing.
sorry.
No, it's totally okay.
Got very into webbing and story.
It's totally okay. Not to worry.
It
was just
is that the same thing that happened before where it just decided, no, I don't want to work anymore? Oh.
Yeah, I think the microphone's going. This is
That's annoying.
yeah, it is, but it's also over 3 years old now. So, yeah.
And in both cases, at the very least, it's a problem that seems to be fairly easily solvable.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to be in a rush to go find a new microphone.
No, it's just a pain in the butt to unplug and replug it.
Yeah.
That's all.
This is very, very true.
Yeah. Yeah, conspicuous complier, it's not that at all. It's the microphone goes completely dead. Like there's no like normally even when it's not hooked up to anything, you can still see it's picking up on my voice. There's a visual factor to this particular microphone. And that it just went completely like nope, no lights, nothing.
Yeah, the fact that this time you were running OBS is you were able to see that OBS on your computer wasn't even picking you up because
fully dead.
The last time this happened, I was running OBS for a different show, and it was before the show went live, so we were able to get it fixed pretty quickly. But yeah, having in a weird way, having it happen just now just kind of confirms for sure it must be the hardware, because otherwise OBS would still be like, I hear something.
That's just
something's
dead.
going
like,
on.
Everything went blank, no lights, nothing, no bars, not a thing.
Oof.
So, yeah. I'll talk to Tanya and see who she recommends my getting. She's always good for equipment recommendations.
Oh yeah, and she will also it won't just be a solid piece of equipment, but one that should last for a while
Yeah,
because
exactly.
we all put a lot of mileage on our microphones.
Yeah. I mean, this is one that it was kind of a gimmicky type of microphone. Like, cause it
Oh,
came it came with like it can also like adjust your voice and everything like that, and like do different voice sounds and everything. And I
oh,
think that factor
interesting.
has definitely affected the life quality of life. That's what I want. The quality of life for how long this mic could actually last, because it started getting quirky about 6 months in, to the point I had to
Oh,
basically deactivate the you could do cool voices thing.
yeah.
Um, so I have a feeling it's time.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Well,
It did many things
you
for me,
are
but
you are 100% correct that Tanya will have some excellent
oh yeah,
recommendations, and if you need other recommendations for some reasons, I can at least speak to
yeah.
a couple of microphones that I have very good ratings for. So, wow,
That's
words.
good.
Words failed
Words are
right there.
fun. Words. It's
Mm.
Friday. Fun words are starting up. I can tell we're both like going to wait. What? Huh? Because this one's a Logitech Yeti,
And
which
those usually, Logitech usually lasts for quite a while, but I think you're right that the fact that it was doing the gimmicky
mm-hmm.
voice modulation stuff as
Yeah,
well, yeah, that probably got in the way.
yeah. So just get a nice simple picks up my voice. That's all I needed to do.
Yeah. This one, for anyone at home who's interested, the one that I've been using for a while is a Shure MX numbers.
Meh.
I can't remember the numbers offhand. It's the Shure MX that is kind of the standard one that's out there. Uh, that's a good solid microphone. I've been very happy with it. But Shure is also one of those brands like
Mm,
Logitech that they've been in the business for long enough that you can pretty well trust the stuff they're doing.
right.
I do have my instrument microphone,
That's a nice one though.
which is an MXL 770, which I haven't pulled out in a while, which I did use. I did double for a very long time as both my oboe recording microphone as well as my talking onto streams microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as awesome as that microphone is, every time it's meant for instrument, it's meant to record instruments, not voice. So I had to do some wonky things to make it work. And
Oh
people who have
yeah.
watched me on streams for a while, um you'll probably remember that microphone because I had to keep it very, very close to my face.
Oh yeah.
Because the things I had to do to make it work when it was my voice instead of the oboe meant that I had to have it right
Really
there.
near there. Yeah.
So that was why I invested in a microphone that is meant for doing this whole talking on the internet thing.
Talking.
Well, and podcasting and everything like that.
Yeah.
Um, but I still do have the MXL 770, which I haven't looked up how much those run now, but that was a very expensive microphone.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, probably what I'll just do with this one is downgrade it and give it to one of the kiddos.
Oh yeah.
So that way, when we're playing video games together and we're using Discord to chat, they have a genuine microphone. And if for some reason they go unplugged or it does whatever it does, it won't be that much of an issue.
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely all systems down. Like even this little dial that when I speak, the dial will like it has its own fluctuation, so you can see your volume and everything like that.
Yeah.
It went black, so and
Oh,
it was plugged in,
jeez.
so it's the microphone.
Lurky Writer says that Garwar also had a microphone or microphone software problem in the last few weeks, and they've just gotten a new one. Ah,
Yeah,
I should ask
something in the
what
air.
what they decided to go for. Yeah, microphones and cameras are
Feisty little things, aren't they?
yeah, and they're things that like ignoring the oboe recording stuff that I was doing 10-ish years ago,
Mm-hmm.
because that's kind of a very specialized thing. But 10-ish years ago, the idea of like needing to know for our jobs as much about
Right?
cameras and microphones as we do would have been real weird.
Yeah, this is true. Like, you do what in the what now?
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly been the funny thing because with you know, working from home, schooling from home, and then playing games online, there are times where it's like I'll be listening in to the kids playing their D&D game, and they're having tech issues, and I'll be shouting from downstairs, "Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this." Did that work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Like, I never thought I'd fill that role. Never. Oh well.
Fortunately, in a lot of cases, turning it off and back on again
Usually that's
still
the
is a
trick.
viable
Yeah.
option. It works for tech, it works for websites, it works for
Mm-hmm.
idle champions.
Oh, right, with updates. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Pretty much. I think
That'll
once a
work.
week, we got to tell someone, just turn off your game and turn it back on
Right.
again. They're like, that fixed it. What'd you do? Told you to turn it off and back on again. uh, that worked. That worked. The thing that always surprised me, it worked for D&D Beyond, which is a website. I
It
literally had
does.
people.
It does.
It's the weirdest thing, and I know, and I'm not talking about like the app on your phone.
Nope.
Literally, if you're logged into D&D Beyond, and it's
It's
mostly
a
if you
thing.
have content on D&D Beyond that you've purchased or been gifted or whatever, if it's not showing up on the website, one of like 50% of the time, closing the website and then
Yep.
opening it back up again fixes it.
Yep.
And it's one of those like, wait, that shouldn't work, but it
But it
does.
does. Yeah. Exactly. No, I've had that happen where it's like something wonky was going on with my D&D Beyond. I'm like, screw it. And I just closed my browser and everything, and I opened it back up, and everything was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't clear out cookies or anything. Nothing. Nope. 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 Just
Yep.
closed and reopened.
It was just in the last couple of weeks. Oh, it was one of my home games. So on
Mm.
Fridays every other week, I have a home game that I play with some wonderful friends in this area. We're going through Heckna, which is the setting from
Sorry.
Hit Point Press. I think it's Hit Point Press. Anyway, dark carnival stuff. Um, and we all use D&D Beyond and various and sundry stuff. And we were talking about the dice. I think I
Mm-hmm.
was specifically trying to explain about hardware acceleration for Chrome users because
Right.
every once in a while someone will use the dice and it just goes ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
Yeah.
and I'd mentioned that the reason for it is because it's running a physics simulation. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a random number generator. And my lovely, wonderful DM, who is literally works in the technology field, like that is his job, as he does it's stuff that I don't know if I could adequately explain. So instead, I'm just going to say he's an incredibly smart person who does technology things.
Uh-huh.
Um, I saw him startle and he went, wait, it does what? I said, oh yeah, when you roll dice on D&D Beyond, it's not running a random number generator. It's not doing a calculation. It does a physics simulation of the dice,
Yeah.
which is why if you play around with the
The
size of the
size. Yeah.
window,
Yeah.
while the dice is rolling, it's like moving the dice box. And then for 5 minutes, everybody in the game is just like, you can just do that?
The
And I
aha
linked
moment.
it took a little while, but I linked Amy Dallin put out a video like 2 years ago, I want to say. It's a short. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
2 minute video because there was a clip going around of Brendan Lee Mulligan uh talking about D&D Beyond and him specifically talking about wanting to see like the graph of because he also thought it was a random number generator and like how random is the graph and how well is the number generation happening and all of that.
Uh-huh.
And so Amy made a duet with that video and was just like, I'm so glad you asked, in the awesome perky way that Amy Dallin does. And then
Right.
showed off the physics simulation
Oh,
and then
hysterical.
showed off, because even then D&D Beyond keeps track of
Mm-hmm.
all of the rolls. If you roll a dice on D&D Beyond, D&D Beyond keeps track of that. Not specifically for like your game, but like it goes, oh, you rolled a d4 and it rolled a 2. I'm just going to remember that happened. And so you can see those graphs, because that's how they keep an eye to make sure that something isn't broken in the physics
Mm-hmm.
engine. So, oh yeah, Lurking Rider's talking about, I think I saw that video. Brennan is a delight, and shout out to Amy. Oh yeah, the both of them are lovely. And
Yeah.
Amy does an incredibly good job of explaining how the D&D Beyond physics engine works. And I say that as someone who worked for D&D Beyond for several years as the community manager and was there when that got implemented. So I speak from a lot of experience when I say she did a really good job in a
Yeah.
very short amount of time talking about something incredibly technical and making it interesting and fun. Uh, so yes, if you're ever using D&D Beyond and you want to have some wonky fun, play around with the size of your window as dice are rolling.
Dice are rolling. Dice are rolling. Okay, so I just finished webbing around the other one.
Me too.
So
Which is
double
why I
webbed.
was stretching.
So we're gonna stick with the webbing, and now what we want to do is very lightly go across just the surface top portion of the web bits, with Taras carapace.
Before we do that, because we're on the last 30 minutes, do we want to move back over to the breath and
Oh.
do...
Um.
How'd that go again?
We can probably do another 10 minutes of this and then go over and do the breaths.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll work.
I figured I'd ask, but I trust
Totally fair.
you.
Totally fair. I'm not concerned if we stop on one and pick up with the other because we're not mixing a paint color here. It's just strictly this paint color out of the bottle. I'd be more concerned if this was like we just mixed up a color, et cetera, et cetera. So what I'm going to do is basically just go and run a thin line on top of these web bits. Not looking to coat the whole thing. Sort of like dry brushing with a detail brush.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. That was your D&D Beyond TED Talk for today.
I'm here for it.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Thanks for coming to the D&D Beyond TED Talk.
This is this goes along with, like, the weird information you have to know and that you know about because of jobs. I know way more about physics engines than I ever thought I would.
See?
Ah, crud.
You okay?
I just got a little bit of the orange on one of the stalks. I just gotta very quickly fix.
Yeah. Quick little water on a brush trick.
Nope, you are not supposed to be that color. You are not supposed to be that color.
Clearly, the minis have opinions about what color they want to be.
You can have what opinions you want, but you are not allowed to be that color.
So you think. So you think, Gas Spore. Gaston the Gas Spore.
No one spores like Gaston. No one soars like Gaston.
Oh, funny.
No one is a terrifying
the
plant
Gas
like
Spores
Gaston.
do. Yeah. What did they do exactly? We gotta start incorporating that.
That is a good question.
What's
That's what I'm desperately trying to remember. You know what? We were just talking about D&D Beyond. Let's do this.
It's
Monsters. Gas Spore, CR one half.
Hmm.
Uh, they've got a death burst. When
Okay.
the gas spore explodes when it drops to 0 hit points. Each creature within 20 feet of it must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take some poison damage. Ooh. And then spores invade an infected creature's system, killing the creature in a number of hours equal to 1d12 plus the creature's Constitution score, unless
Ooh.
the disease is removed. After the
Dang.
creature dies, it sprouts 2d4 tiny gas spores that grow to full size in 7 days.
Well
That's
then.
Holy mackerel. So there you go. There you go, everybody. It might be a CR one half, but if you send that at your players who don't have access to a paladin or lesser
Right.
restoration or remove disease,
It gets
things could
interesting
get tense.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yikes. Yikes, I say.
that's very cool.
So
I
yeah, I'd
mean,
stick with
I'm
the name
definitely gonna.
Gaston. You know, it's a jerk.
There you go. I'm definitely gonna have to use that in one of my games because I
Ooh.
feel like okay, at a lower level that could be real deadly,
Mm-hmm.
but at a higher level, especially, um, it could be fun for the problem solving of figuring out what's going
True.
on
Yeah.
because then at least I know, all right, the actual danger of this person dying and turning into a whole bunch of gas spores is pretty low
Right.
because once they figure out what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be fixed.
Right.
So,
Makes
sheesh, but
sense.
yeah, that's
They're feisty, huh?
yeah,
They're a wee bit feisty.
that's
Mm.
cool though. I like that.
Yeah.
I am always a fan of creatures that have stat blocks that are more than just bags of hit points and an attack roll.
Right. Lasting effects after encounter is always a fun little twist to add into the thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're just feeling a little. You're just feeling kind of
Off. Yeah.
icky. An hour later into the encounter, hey, into the game. Roll me a Constitution saving throw. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
why?
Reasons?
Oh, reasons.
Cause.
Yeah,
Just
you still
cause.
feel kind of icky.
Yeah, that's brutal. Dang.
There are a fair number of those of creatures that are technically a low CR that have an ability or two that can be just devastating to low level
Yeah.
parties.
Yeah, this is
There's
true.
some undead and things like that. So in a way, it kind of goes along with the way things have gone with other low level monsters. But yeah,
Mm-hmm. So again, this just sort of brings out the details a little bit more
yeah.
by putting that on there. Do the other one really quick, and then we'll jump over to finishing up our animateds.
Yep, I just started on my second one.
Cool. Yeah, that's like you're under the weather. You're not quite sure why. It seems to have started a little bit after your encounter. Watch them put the where, for, how, and why together.
Yep. Ooh.
Hmm?
So yeah, that would definitely be cool to throw against a party that you're like, okay, the chances of this actually killing someone is very low.
Right.
Uh, because as soon as they figure out they'll figure out eventually what's going on
Yeah.
before things get real bad. Um, but imagine you
Hmm.
get into this encounter and there's already like someone who has died
Ooh.
to these things. And so now you're a little while later, you've successfully fought these things off. You realize what is going on with one of your party members. And
Mm-hmm.
then someone says, wait a second, weren't there back with that battle some other bodies lying around that?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
There's more to come. Oh, that's brutal. In the best of ways.
Yeah, because it's essentially adding a whole adventure, a little
Mm-hmm.
adventure on to
Yeah.
a creature, which is
Yeah, exactly.
that's super cool.
I like it.
How have I
Oh, it's
not
the
thought of using this creature
face.
before?
Aren't you glad we painted him?
There you go. Yes, welcome Aspie Dog. Welcome to Paint and
Hello.
Slay, where every Friday we get together and we paint minis of creatures that you can fight off in Idle Champions and chat about the way
All the
that you can
things,
terrorize your players with gas spores, apparently.
right?
If you ever want to join us, actually, I haven't talked about this on the stream for a while. If you ever
Ooh.
want to join us in painting any of these minis, because, we're at 103 episodes, all of the episodes previous to us are on our YouTube channel. And if you come to our Discord, discord.gg/Idle Champions, we have a Paint and Slay channel where not only can you post pictures of your own minis, whether they're ones from this show or just painted on your own, but also in the pinned posts on that channel are all of the supplies you need to join us if you ever want to join us in painting, in this case, gas spores.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And thank you, Lurking Writer, for sticking the YouTube channel in there. So Paint and Slay, just so you know, is on the Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms channel. And if you're also looking for some of the spotlights for the newest champions that are going to come out during the Great Mojang March, that is over on the, or I'm sorry, all the way around.
Yeah, I was gonna say
The
foot reversal.
spotlights are on the Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms channel. Paint and Slay is on the C&E Games channel. Yes, we have two YouTube channels.
There's two of them.
Because YouTube.
YouTube gets feisty with what content you're putting onto one singular channel.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube doesn't seem to understand that if you regularly put out content that's one length and then you put out other content that's a completely different length, it doesn't
Right?
know what to do with you.
Nope. And it get angry.
Yeah.
Algorithm get angry.
Yeah.
Okay, so perfect. I just finished up the webbing around the second one. So there we go.
I'm almost done with my second one.
See, nice. So we'll finish these up next week, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Because we actually made a pretty good dent. There's just some other detail work we need to do, obviously. So I'm going to quickly make sure my brushes get into the water to be rinsed. And you're going to want to grab your gloss Mod Podge Ultra.
Get all those spots.
And I'm going to start painting a nice layer of this onto my minis. There we go.
And for those who are just joining us, we have moved back over to the acid and fire brush.
Yes, we have.
What you think? Gloss.
What was that?
I'm making sure I grab the gloss.
Oh, like that was a sound.
Gloss. All right, and I also need a paintbrush that I'm not going to use for painting minis.
Yeah, you got to make sure if you're going to use a brush with this Mod Podge Ultra, you either clean it super duper well. You can even dip it in some rubbing alcohol afterwards to strip the sticky factor about this off.
Or you can do what I am about to do, which is to use a brush that I don't use for anything else except this exact thing. I just have to find where I put them because I reorganized all of my brushes.
Oh no. Either one, bye-bye.
There you are. There you are. There.
And you will notice as this puddles, it kind of gets this whitish tone to it. That will dry clear. You just want to make sure it doesn't puddle too much, because then it's going to be this sticky, icky mess. So definitely kind of like when you're doing an actual wash on the Mini. Keep moving the brush around. Pull up any additional residue or leftover Ultra. And just let your brush bristles wick it up, and you can move it to a separate spot. But it's not going to stay that milky white color. It dries very clear, very shiny, which is what we want.
Yep. On the positive side, though, while it is that milky color, it makes it a lot easier to see. Where have I painted?
Did I do this one yet? Maybe not.
Yep.
Maybe yes, maybe no. Like in the mouth? I did not. There we go. And the fun thing will be taking pictures of this tomorrow once it's completely cured and them looking like nice, shiny, bright guys.
Yeah.
Which will be a lot of fun. Okay, so that takes care of the acid breath. You can see it's looking milky right now, so I'm going to put that down over here to dry. And jump over to the fire. Jump over to the fire.
Jump over the fire.
Mm-hmm. All right, in this case, I am definitely holding this guy upside down as I work on the arms and let gravity help me out. Good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll definitely help with the arm section. FYI. Use all the angles possible. Yeah, this one really shows up milky right now. It's like a marshmallow cone.
Which, for a fire creature,
right?
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I happen to have a little experience with fire and marshmallows. Yeah. So,
Exactly. Now, just keep in mind, folks, that we are the last show for today.
That's true.
So we're going to probably just slightly, ever so slightly, a minute or two longer than we normally do. But that's because there's no need to rush off.
Yeah. The formation save will return when Sean returns from their well-deserved break.
All right. So many angles on this guy.
Well, and all the deep grooves,
yeah,
which made some things really easy when painting, are definitely making it way more important that I wick up all of the congealed bits.
Oof. I'm going to flip it back upright for me to get that stuff to pool down. Now that I took care of the arms. Oh, I just love how putting on those metallics really amped up the details on this guy, though.
Yeah.
This is going to look so awesome when it's fully done.
Okay. What do I do?
Almost there. How are you doing?
I've just started on the fire because I think I had a little bit more to wick up on the acid.
Gotcha.
I got a little overexcited with my the amount of gloss I was putting on it and had to go back and be like, no, not that much.
Yeah. Oh, and if people are wondering why I didn't bother to dot the eyes on this fellow, it's because to try and get to the eye that this one arm is curved up against is near impossible. So what I didn't want to do is dot one eye and not the other because it would make the Mini look off. So in this case, it was better to sort of omit dotting the eye because it was not going to be worth trying to reach this impossible angle
Yeah. Well, and you can even see on the art,
Mm-hmm.
because that art is actually right from the box art
Yeah.
itself. It's it's not like it is a very um obviously made eyeball.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
After all,
so this
these are
guy.
animated pieces of
Exactly.
dragon breath.
Ooh.
Doesn't have to be too humanoid.
No, 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 no. Okay, so that takes care of getting the Ultra on these two beauties, and I'm really looking forward to getting photos of them tomorrow, where I can use the camera to
Yeah.
really show them off a lot better. For sure. Okay, gonna put that one
Because you want to
down.
give these plenty of time to cure.
Absolutely. Definitely 24 hours at least. Let it cure, let it do its thing. We'll go back to working on these guys
Our
next
spores.
week. Our gas spores next week. We'll keep going with those, which you can tell are coming along quite nicely. There's really not that much left to do, so it'll probably take about half an episode, I'm thinking, to finish up these two,
Okay.
based on my notes. So we'll do another, jumping into doing another mini. So along with the gas spores, next week we're going to start jumping into doing the Cyclops, which is also from
Yeah.
D&D Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures from WizKids. So this is what it looks like out of the box. He works out, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
A big boy.
oh, that's funny. We're going from a pair of one-eyed monsters to another one-eyed monster. That wasn't even intentional.
We should have painted the gas spores purple, and then we could have had a one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater. Why don't we think about these things in time?
Oh,
Jeez.
God, too funny. But yeah, so we'll start work on the Cyclops next week. Start getting the base colors on because we're going to do something fun with the undertones to the skin tone. I thought it would be a cool thing to do with this one.
Ooh.
Yes. So yeah, we'll get that one going too. But yeah, so don't forget also, we have things happening. It is the weekend, which means we have the Shar's Darkness weekend going on this week. Starting now, the newsletters have been going out. And in that newsletter, you'll get a free gold Darkness chest to amp up your champions with some goodies inside of that chest. If you haven't signed up for a newsletter yet, get into the game, get yourself signed up. You'll get a newsletter right away where we give you a chance, not a chance, we give you Hitch to unlock. So that's a good thing. And then you'll start getting newsletters from us once a week. Maybe once in a blue moon, you will get a newsletter that has some important updates about the game, but we will always make sure that something free is included in that newsletter when we reach out to you. So really good incentive to make sure that you're getting signed up for that one. It's not something we abuse where you're getting, oh my God, I finally got myself unsubscribed from that one particular game, where you're getting a newsletter 3 times a day. We don't do that.
Jeez.
No.
Unless I'm playing an ARG, I don't want any game or company or anyone contacting me 3 times a day.
It was so obnoxious. I'm like, okay, you need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that happening this weekend. And then just announced for our great Modron March, we're going to have Diana and Grama joining us. Grama has been reworked, and Diana is our brand new champion from the 80s cartoon. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do. So check out the Spotlight blogs and the videos. Those are out and live and doing all those good things on our YouTube channel and on our main idolchampions.com website thingamajigger that we have. So check those out too. And let me think, is there anything else floating around? Isn't it a Timegate weekend? It's a Timegate weekend.
That's true. That's true.
It's a Timegate weekend too. So if you want a chance to unlock even more champions this weekend, check out the Timegate weekend because that'll be something fun for you to take advantage of, amping up your roster and getting more of those champions you've been hoping to get outside of their event time. So definitely take a look this weekend. All right. I'm glad I remember that was happening too. So, yay!
We were a little distracted.
That's just it. So that is it for this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, chat, and for humoring us with all the dead flesh. That was just so...
I'm sure
Gabe.
that's only been clipped 3 or 4 times already.
Right? Also, thanks to Gabe for modding for us and pulling all of those lovely questions coming in from chat. We really appreciate it. And I think I'm going to say goodbye right now because I can feel my allergies are about to revolt.
Yes,
So
go
before I
have
have
something to drink.
fit,
Have a lovely
bye,
weekend,
everyone.
everybody. Bye-bye.